All right, and you are just in time for our next conversation. And as I had mentioned earlier, we are looking at fake news or fake information. How exactly do we get to deal with fake news, especially on the internet, since we are living in that era where everything has gone digital? So how do you get to decode fake news? And joining me for this particular conversation is, I have two gentlemen with me. On my immediate right is John Mutunga, and John Mutunga is the founder, Cyberpro Global, and my far right is Samuel Kariuki. Samuel is EDUTEC Manager, Cyberpro. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you so much. Okay.
All right, when we're talking about fake news or fake information, this is generally just misleading info that is not factual, right? So how do we get to differ fake news or fake information from misinformation?
Okay. First of all, when you are dealing with fake news, we are talking of fake news as information that has not been verified, information whose sources are not factual. And so when you're talking of fake news, we should be aware that we may talk of misinformation and disinformation.
Yes.
When talking of misinformation, we are talking of information that was sent not necessarily to cause harm, but it was sent as a mistake maybe, but it sent the wrong message. But when we're talking of this information was sent with an intent to cause harm. Maybe there was some monetary gain to gain out of it. So when trying to solve this issue, number one, let's say it's information, let's say it's in an organizational setup. You'll need to educate your people. You need to educate them that in order to authenticate this particular source, go to this site. This site is a legit one. Don't use this other site. So education is a very important stuff when talking about how to decipher fake news and legit news.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And still on that, maybe to you, John, how do we decode, fake news exactly?
Thank you. Mostly I would say information which is sent to the public or which is published for the view of the public, the only way you can decode is knowing the right information. And the only way you can know the right information is by being informed first. If you are not informed, you must be inquisitive. You must choose to distrust the information which is on, you are either perceiving or receiving or which is being pushed to you. You must decode it, you must understand it, you must distrust it, and that's when you will be able to walk above the fake news. Without the knowledge of decoding, you might just absorb every information which comes to you. Only data that comes to you might just take it as a positive data and take action about it, and then they are determined or acts about it. Yeah.
And in line with that, as I mentioned, we're living in a digital era. Information is always on the tip of our hands. All you need is just to have a phone with you, and you can get any kind of information, and all that it takes to share fake news is just a simple thing. Just share. The next person will also share and share. So do we really have the time to fact check? And how can one go about fact checking before maybe sharing information? Okay,
it's for a fact that most of the social media sites we have, they are engineered to the trending stuff is the one which will come first.
Yes.
For example, let's talk about Twitter. When you're talking of Twitter and I want the word ABC to trend, I'll just tell multiple people, please key in the word ABC, ABC, ABC. But that word ABC, it doesn't necessarily mean that the word is, maybe ABC is not necessarily the legit news. It can be a fake news. Yeah. But using these certain social media sites, what I'm trying to say is that some social media sites are structured. You can't be able to really tell what is factual and what is fake. So it's upon you to research it for yourself from the legit sources. For example, if it's anything to do with cybersecurity, maybe the company Cyberpro Global, we are good in cybersecurity, go research based on cyber security with CyberPro Global. Or if it's another company, let's say maybe it's banks, and you trust Equity, you only deal with Equity, but not just any other source of information. So it's really important that you know the sites that you're visiting and the legit ones in that case. Yeah.
Now, clearly, social media is one of the places where fake news easily gets to spread, you know. So how exactly can we go about combating that spread of fake news or fake information, specifically on social media?
I'll think on that. I would just say, I didn't say this. Most of the social medias were built for the sake of, I would not say fake news, I would say disinformation. The social media platforms, most of them feed people with disinformation.
Or you feel like they were specifically made to disinform? To
disinform, because if people knew how truly you are, they would not read about your story. So you go to a place whereby you're only alone, you feed the information of the place, of what you are doing, and you put only the good part of what you are doing. And then everybody absorbs that and takes that as the right information about who you are. And the only way, one of the ways to debunk that is first to create a kind of a national commitment to whatever you are doing, knowing that there are things you cannot just put online. There are people you cannot talk about online. There are areas of patriotism you cannot discuss on social media. And when I talk about patriotism, I'm talking about be able to love your country enough not to talk about some stuff which you think it's devaluing the nation itself. You have to love. If somebody says something like, somebody just writes like something like 500 people die in Lake, I would say Lake Tugen or something like that, on a bus to a funeral, and the first thing you will think about 500 people in a bus on a lake at Tugen, those things don't exist. It's very easy if you distrust everything you see online before you first absorb it. It's very easy for you to be able to identify fake news. They always come as fake, and it is easy to tell, but people usually look at the person who sent the news. If your cousin sent you the news and your uncle is the one who distributed, you just look at the chain of distribution and quickly absorb the news and take it as a national news. And sometimes it hurts people, sometimes it devalues people, sometimes it's just propaganda. And when I talk about propaganda, it's with political gain, either to lose an opponent or to fight an opponent over the media. The best approach to information is to educate yourself with the right information, educate yourself with the right content, and absorb the right content, and you'll be able to debunk what is wrong and what is right at the first instance. There's also an issue of influencers. The influencers are the guys who are paid specifically to push agenda, whether it is for profit or for just for fun. So the society must be very sensitive, must be careful about information that is coming from social media and it has an influencer tagged to it. You might find that somebody is selling, I wouldn't want to give a live example of an instrument that is used to clean a car, and the instrument looks like it's a big bottle of an instrument, but an influencer is saying this is a 2 kilograms of products built up with this product, and then you end up buying that thing, and when they deliver to you, you just find it's a very small thing, and it's not worth the amount of money which you paid, and you feel like you just dug yourself in. So the best approach is be informed and ask people whether is this true, is this information true, before you even comment about anything you see online. If you don't trust it, ask someone else. Be somebody who is inquisitive. Carry the act of zero trust. We find that zero trust platform has really helped people to achieve things which they could have lost a lot of monetary value or their essence of life. But if you don't trust everything, you'll be able to trust something which is legit. Thank you.
All right. You know, looking at the situation that the country is in right now, where we have leaders having issues or having problems with the younger generation, specifically the Gen Zs, you know, it's so easy for one to just use social media to disinform people. You know, just use it to disinform, and it could cause so much harm. And, you know, when it comes to digital, you know, and social media, to be specific, most of the times you don't even know where this information is originating from. You know, because sometimes one can just use a pseudo account and put it out there. So is there a way to just, can someone actually follow a pseudo account and get to the actual person, you know, ICT-wise?
ICT-wise is very possible.
IT-wise, yeah.
IT-wise is very possible. The security organs of the nation are able to follow you up and know where you're located, which IP addresses you're using, which equipment you're using for spreading the news. And one thing we could say, it's easily that everything that is online is always being watched, whatever you place online. But sometimes people check, and even the security organs check and say this is of no importance. But there's a level of, like I say, patriotism. There's a level of love for your nation whereby you cannot spread some news because you know the effect of those news. There are things, even as we talk about free press and the gutter press and the
freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech. Yeah. There are things that we, if you love your nation enough, there are things you cannot even say online. And that is the first thing which will change our nation. By first loving your nation enough to look at what's the effect of this information I'm putting online. What will happen if this goes through? Are you educated enough to understand that whatever you are putting online might have a detrimental effect even on a child? For example, somebody takes a photo of a child who has been hit by a car and puts it online. For what purpose are you put it online? To tell the other guys that Kenyatta Avenue is not good for cars to pass through? It's just, some information we share online is of no importance. It's just,
allow me to cut you short.
Yes.
We take a short commercial break and then we come back.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. A look at your kidneys and how they impact your health. And an expert discusses chronic kidney disease and how to protect yourself. And Ivorian psychologist Noor Bakayoko shares some insights on bullying and what can be done.
It's important to avoid major events or major health crises.
How do you know if your cough is due to a serious condition? We'll have some answers. Stay well
and strive to make every day a healthy day.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now, to you, Samuel, are there red flags that one can just see from the get-go and know that, I think this source is not really credible, or this information that is being spread here is not factual?
Yeah, there are red flags. For example, we are talking of news. We are used to that, let's say, for example, KBC is the one which we are used to receiving news from, the legit news from the government. But then all of a sudden, you see there's another site or there's another TV station that you people never knew, but it's giving the same news. That one you need now to you need to do a factual check and check, by the way, the credible source that I know is KBC. But in this case, I'm getting news from another person. And we should also be aware that most of the people who usually like bring the fake news or they misinform others. They normally use the trick in cybersecurity, we normally talk of it as social engineering, whereby you just lure someone by some common thing that you expect the person to maybe to be able to click, for the person to click to gain something or something of the sort. So it's very possible for you to know if something is real or if something is fake by just factual checking at the source. Yeah, so the source can really tell you.
Yeah. Maybe what are some of the fact-checking resources that are there?
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking about fact-checking. How does one go about doing that?
Now, when you are talking of, let's say, for example, you're talking of sites, websites, there's this good site called whois.com. Whois.com tries to tell you, for example, it's a certain domain. Like you can just search for a certain domain and just tell, by the way, who is the owner of this domain? Is it a legit site? So you can be able to tell. Also, there are other sites, for example, like VirusTotal in cybersecurity. It can tell you, by the way, has this site been reported for any phishing? Has any phishing ever happened? So you can tell by using tools like Whois, VirusTotal, yes. Yeah. Okay.
John, I would love you to take me through the process of evaluating, the credibility of a source.
Different informations come to people with different kind of attachments. For example, if you are looking at a content which is political, you first need to know the source of the content. Who wrote the content first? How long has it been in the media platform? For example, you might find a content which has been running for the last 3 days, and nobody is talking anything negative about it. Everybody is supporting the motion and talking about whatever is happening in the country today. For example, I wouldn't want to use Kenya as an example. I would use US. We'll be talking about the status of the last debate between Trump and his friend. And the information coming from there is one guy was goofy, the other one was doing so well. And you want to see what is the mainstream media talking about it, not the gutter press. Mainstream media, it's like you want to know what CNN is talking about, what Fox News is talking about. And that, by knowing what they are talking about, you'll be able to place yourself in a place whereby you can comment about the situation in that country at that time, or the situation of the information which you are receiving. Another thing is carrying the heart of zero trust, which I talked before. Carrying the heart of zero trust helps you to quickly decode any information which you find which you feel it's not correct. But I don't know how you would go online, find a guy who is selling a car at 300,000, and you don't have a way to compare what's the price of the cars in the market at that time. You could easily be siphoned of your money by just picking up the news and putting it up as you are. And even people end up paying. And you ask somebody, why did you pay? I didn't know why I paid, because this guy was very convincing and the information is put. Sometimes people even put information. We had a case whereby somebody traveled from here to Kisumu to just go and collect a car which was virtual and it was not there. No. And he finds there, the guy changes his mind and says, I'm in Mombasa. I wasn't actually in Kisumu. I told you I was in Mombasa. So get informed, educate yourself with how media trades work. Again, we also look at the state of the government. The government needs to put statistics in place whereby we could have somewhere where you can post news which you feel like this news is not correct. That's very necessary, to have a place whereby you can post news which you feel it's not true news. And then quickly that platform should be able to report to you, this is fake, this did not happen, this happened, and this is true, it happened. Because based on that, we'll be able to decode the power of the media campaigns, whereby people are paid to spread the wrong news and people are paid to post wrong news. Like of late, I've realized every time something is the hot news in the nation, somebody places an advert there which is not even part of the hot news. And you wonder, this advert is supposed to pick up people and divert them to their products or to their services. So being informed is very important, and we are working as a company, we work on developing a kind of a media knowledge of the status of the security solutions in the country. And we are involved in training people to understand how to even decode this information. We are involved in building a culture of people who will love their nation and understand things which they can put on social media. Some of them might not help, and even helping people decode the social media information as fast as they know them. So you would fall into the trap of just picking up everything that is thrown to you and keep on disturbing it and distributing it. That's what we work for. We work for developing that kind of architecture in people's minds, an ecosystem whereby you'll understand what is true and what is false. I'll give an example of a biblical thing which happened in the country, in Israel a long time ago. And these guys were sent, 12 people were sent to go and bring news about a certain country. They come back and say the people who are that country are very big, they're even 10 times bigger than us. Only 2 guys gave the right information. The other 10 gave wrong information. We need to be among the 2 people who understand the right information. When it is posted online, you easily can decode it. And you can only learn that by reading, by studying, by educating yourself, and you put yourself in a group of people who speak the truth, so you can decode the lie. Thank you.
All right, Samuel, maybe who is responsible in ensuring that the info being put out there is factual?
Okay. Who is responsible?
Yeah.
I would say the social media sites. For example, I would say for me to make sure that fake news do not spread, I would say the social media sites should allow us to be able to report fake news. So after I've reported the fake news, the social media site itself will be able to flag
we are having
down.
a problem with your mic, so maybe John can get into that as they check on your mic. So who exactly is responsible?
The individual who is posting the next post is the one who is responsible. The source of the information is also responsible. But most of this information, some of it is not, it does not damage a lot. It only damages sometimes reputation, sometimes damages the state of the nation, sometimes damages the... There are things which will be posted and we realize the guy who posted is dumb. He's not a smart person. There are things which will be... Like, we have a case whereby a Kenyan person will say, my name is Kinodia or Ajiru, and then puts a photo of a Chinese. And you ask yourself, why would you do that? And you are trying to show that you have a connection between Kenya and China, and this is the real you. If somebody picks that information and shares it again, you definitely don't know what you're doing. So the best thing is we hold people responsible for what they are saying online. And if we hold people responsible, it's very easy for somebody to say, I'm not going to share this because I don't know who is going to come after me after this. So the person who shares the next share must be the one who is responsible for the whole distribution of the information. Sometimes it's political and it's propaganda and just wants to tear down one person, another one wins. That's unacceptable. But it's not acceptable in a case whereby, we had a case whereby somebody said, if you give me this, I'm even going to change the voice of the media. And I asked them, so who will be responsible for changing the voice of the media? Even the press print will be saying number 2 is winning and number 1 is losing. And you ask yourself, how do you get to that level by changing the voice of the media online, not physically? It's by hiring like 2,000 people to post wrong story about one person, so that people might have negative impacts, might have negative perception about the person. So the person who shares next must be the one who is responsible. Sometimes it's only the computer, it's also sometimes the source of the information is also responsible for it. So,
sorry, Samuel, you can carry on with your point. Who exactly do you feel is responsible?
I actually can't say who exactly, but I can say the people who take part in this ecosystem. Because remember, we have the social media site, which is a platform, and we have the people who are posting. So we have 2 parties, and the 2 parties, they play a very important role in disseminating this news. So on the part of the people, as John has said, the people should be held liable for what they are posting. But now when talking of the social media sites, I was now saying the social media sites should also give us the platform for us to be able to report fake news. For example, Twitter, I've seen they have implemented that actually. You can see that maybe there's something that has been reposted, and then you see has been retweeted, and then you can see there below it has been written. They can just write there a context. Context, people have put this one, maybe it's fake or something of the sort. So the sites also, they play a very important role.
Now, I want to carry on with that, you know. You know, every choice must have a consequence.
Yeah.
You know, and are people usually held liable for spreading fake news, specifically in this country? Have you heard of people who, is it punishable? Are people being punished for that? Because as you mentioned, even when one uses a pseudo account, you said with IT, someone can actually locate who exactly is behind that pseudo account. So has it been punishable?
Most times, it's possible to punish someone, either physically or even through the social media. For example, you write something which is wrong, and somebody exposes you who you are, and then you are able to be found. And sometimes it's just exposed that you are telling a lie. Nobody wants to be exposed that is lying. Every time you expose somebody that is lying, they feel bad. So the only way we can say people are able to be punishable, sometimes there are issues of national security, which now that is punishable by the government. But I feel that for total collaboration with even the society itself, the civil society, the government, and even the academia itself, we are all responsible for what people are consuming, especially in the social media. Whatever we are consuming, all of these three people are concerned. For example, the civil society is supposed to be the advocacy for the public and talking about what is bad for them. If information which is coming from them is also not true, and it's not a real information, then they should be held responsible. And maybe there's a law that decodes that also. There are also legislations which I think the government is putting in place on issues of cyber and cyber espionage and the political and the cyber war and things like the invisible war, I would call it like that. The whole social media is war by itself. It's a platform for every kind of, it's a platform for governance, it's a platform for education, it's a platform for religion, it's a platform for even for raising up kids. So we can't say that you'll be punished for telling parents how to dress their kids when they are going for a certain game, even if something happens while they were there. But you should hold yourself first responsible and punish yourself first. But if you give out a wrong advice in the media and it does not make sense, or it affects the other party. So part of it, I would say there would be need for regulations, which I think 50 they are not there. There will be need for inclusivity of building a national strategy for information online, data online, and data protection, which I think is there, but it's not received by the public. I feel also there is need for inclusivity of the academia, mostly, because we would say 50% of the active guys in the social media are the guys in school, are the guys who are in the academic industry. It's possible for the people in academia to learn and decode and even de-escalate information that is not correct. Like you write something wrong and these guys will tear it down and tell you this is not right. And even if you say X will say, if everybody say it is not right, X says this is not right and you are supposed to remove it. Many times I've commented things online and it is removed by X and I have to write why I wrote it like that. So some part of the punishment, some of them are physical, others are not implementable, but others are implementable, even through the government. You can be followed up and imprisoned for saying something which is not right. Sometimes I even see stuff online and I ask myself, where can somebody just go and get this guy, tell him to explain what he's truly saying? Some information is not patriotic, some information doesn't change the nation, some information does not even build the nation.
What is the impact, general impact of fake news?
The general impact of fake news is that it can make people do its effect. For example, I've told you maybe, you know, I remember when back then, I was hearing of news that people were saying that Jesus is coming. Then you had everyone now started reacting, selling shambas, doing such things. So your fake news can make other people do things which they were not intended to do, but it is really bad news. So its effect, it can affect negatively.
Maybe how can media organizations, because they are responsible with putting out information out there, how can media organizations and technology companies work together to combat, this vice?
There is a media council which vets what you are putting in the press. There is also the educationalists, the people who are training the people who are going to work to the media council. I think there are rules which are governing the code of ethics and how to work. And if information is not correct, it's possible tomorrow to be on the news that this information was passed on by this media house and it is not correct.
Yeah.
I feel that it's one of the ways having a unifying point whereby information is vetted because before it goes to across Africa. I would not say even in Kenya, across Africa. You cannot write something like April 14, April 1 every day. So everybody knows April 1, everybody writes a fool's thing.
Yeah.
But you cannot write a fool's thing every day. Every day. Sometimes I feel like one day the media should just wake up and say, today we don't have news. And just pass over the day. They don't have news. What would happen even today, even if one day KBC just said, today we don't have news for 9 o'clock because we don't want to tell a lie. Today we just decided we don't have news. Oh, the news was just one item. The rest we just go and have some advertisements. Why? Because people right now are informed of what is happening. But people are not sure whether what is happening is the 100% the truth. And sometimes the media houses get the information from X, even get information from Facebook, and put it as the main information. Is there a place whereby all of them could unite and say, vet this information, whether it is correct? Is it true? Should we put it online? Is it possible to have that? And then too, that will come only by education, by knowing that what is the effect of what you have said? What is the effect? If we print this, what will be the effect of the people? Because people is the most important thing for everything. What will be the effect of if we print this information, we put it on the media, what will be the effect? Look at the effect even in 10 years to come. For example, somebody is complaining that for the last many years, children in school have been learning about the books they have been reading about political status of a country. I would say even the person who printed people like Francis Buga, Man of Kafira, Bito in the City, they end up building up a child who is not complete. And we might end up having kids who are not even complete later. People who are thinking about politics and fighting the government and not loving your nation. And maybe in 5 years, everybody will just be provoked and they riot. So you look at what is the effect of the information you are passing to the public and whether that effect might be detrimental even to your own kids. That will help so much if people could vet and decide that I'm not going to write this because maybe if kids in school read it, they may practice it 2 years to come or 3 years to come. Look at the detriment of whatever you have put to your life and then try to control that. That would be perfect.
All right, and just to put it out there, KBC journalists are well trained and their Media Council of Kenya accredited, just to put it out there. Well, what are some of the effective ways of correcting, info that had already been put out there? It is fake news. It's fake information. It's already been spread. How do you go about, what are the effective ways of correcting that? And it's already out there.
Okay, if the news is already out there and you have already known the source that took it was the fake source. Now, to do a reverse of it, I think the best part over here is now the credible source must now say, okay, what was said before was wrong, but me as a credible source, I'll put this as a legit news. So it's very important for the credible sources or the legit sources to state their stand on that particular news.
Maybe I comment on that. There is the same thing we said, influence campaigns. If information is out in public and it is not correct, you need to de-escalate the information, the state of the information. And some of the areas of de-escalation is influence campaigns. And I know the media knows how to bring that up and tear it down and make it look better than it was published. But it is good for the public to realize if people say you are bad in this aspect, why don't you do something good to cancel the bad. If something is written online, you can get your friends to just say it is not correct. There's nothing wrong like that. I've been involved with the march with the Middle East, and I know much of what is happening in the Middle East. And I found myself as a voice to de-escalate issues which touch Africa and touch Middle East, because most of what we train comes from Middle East, and we train much on cybersecurity and media and stuff. And I find it so important that if there is so much bad information about you, about an organization, about you, about a situation in the status of the country, so you have to do something to de-escalate the status. One of the ways is speak positive about it, put conferences and speak about good things happening in the world of whatever you are doing. De-escalation is one way of fighting wars and fighting media wars. By de-escalating, you'll have to create a positive image of the negative image which was put forward. And I think that works so well. Okay. De-escalating is just try to make it look easy, make it look not difficult, and try to negotiate even with the person who is spreading the fake news and tell them, for sure you don't have to do this, it is building bad reputation for the country and even for the people. And people usually listen and they change their face. I remember last week, this vocal guy of South Africa was asked, why is it that whenever you're in the media houses and you're talking, you are very composed and polite, but when you're in the public at the parliament, you make so much noise? And this guy said, in the parliament I only have 5 minutes, so I have to be so loud so I can be heard and so that my idea can be passed on to the public. But in the media house, I'm compelled to speak whatever I want, and it doesn't bring issues. So he's good at media house and violent at the parliament. Some people use that as their defense mechanism. One, you can de-escalate that or devalue that for the sake of peace. Thank you.
Okay. Now, before we come to a close of this conversation, how will the advancements in AI, because now AI is already here with us, how will the advancements in AI affect the spread of fake news in future?
The advancements of AI will highly affect it. Because when talking of deep fake, negatively, very highly. Because when we're talking of deep fakes, we have heard of deep fake videos whereby you can see the president is speaking, but it's not really him. Such things. And so in such stuff, it's very critical that we as maybe now the cybersecurity industry, the IT industry, we come together and talk about it. For example, we as a company, we have a conference called the Cyber Week Africa Conference that it's coming. So we should we talk all about these issues and how to solve them. For example, AI. AI will bring up the issue now of fake news will not be rampant because many people will not be making news using the deep fakes. So it's very important that we as the industry, we sit down and come up with solutions about them. Yes.
Maybe if you can add on to that, as you also tell us, maybe just projecting, what are the potential solutions to address such, specifically when it comes to AI?
I'll a little bit disagree with him, and we can fight after this. But people are trying to push AI as one of the main things that will fight and will cause the world to be a worse place to live in. But
is it not true?
It's not true. AI will not affect the world a worse place. If you remember, the old guys used to drive cars which you want to put gears. Now cars are automatic. Now they have even brought in cars which run by AI and they don't need a driver. AI will make things better. So with AI, you'll publish a wrong content. AI will be able to decode the code and realize its code and take it down. With AI, we'll be able to send positive information to wherever we want. Despite its presence, we will still have control of whatever it's doing. The only thing it will do good things quickly and bad things quickly. And
but
that's
still,
where we will fight.
You know, when you talk about that, you say that it will actually help in maybe decoding, you know, some of this. But I'm sure that by now, I don't know if Samuel will agree with me, I have already seen, you know, a clip where they assume this person is talking. For example, it's Vivian, and I'm talking about something, and it's definitely not me. Like, it's already there. They've taken your voice because your voice is out here on social media. You know, when we finish this interview, this clip will be on YouTube, you know? So they can easily pick my voice on YouTube and just have it as me. My face is already here. It's on screen and all that. So when you say that it will actually help, I would say that it has the negative side. So that's why I was asking if there are potential solutions to address that.
At advanced countries, every machine learning, they are building a next to machine learning to monitor the machine that is learning. So the code which is placed on this and the bots which are running this machine have another bot which is watching over that one. So at the same pace they are running, each one is watching the other one. Because right now we know AI can easily, robots can defy what you want them to do. They can do the opposite of what you want to do.
Yeah.
But as human race, and I tell people that the AI will just make things better and faster. And we have control of whether it's bad or worse. We have control of that. The fear which we are placed on by the fake news is that AI is going to annihilate us and going to keep us.
So you're saying we have consumed fake news on AI?
We have already consumed the fake news on AI because I believe cars will be made easier, people will be able to communicate easier. I'm now able to talk to somebody who is in Afghanistan face to face. I wouldn't want anything like that to pass through my... So everybody should build his life knowing that technology is coming to help us do things better and faster, and we will control whether it is going to be only that if it lands in the wrong hands. For example, I sat on a meeting whereby somebody was talking about building an aircraft and how they print. Sorry, I used the word print, but that's the exact word they use. They print an aircraft wing. One wing of the aircraft is printed. And then somebody hacks the system and they cuts the wing in the middle and they just builds it the way it is, but it has a crack. So after some time, the wing breaks up, and you have to repeat all what you did. So there will be good people try to stand and bad people try to help. And many try to shut it down. Many times, good people always win. We have to know that because good people are more than the bad people. And many times, the bad people make so much noise until you think they are more than us. We are more than them. On September 23rd, we have a conference at the University of Nairobi talking about such a thing. I would invite everyone in the nation to come. September 23rd is called the Africa Cyber Week Conference, which is a yearly conference. We are talking about cyber, AI, artificial intelligence, invisible war, and things like cyber security as a military warfare. Those are things we are talking about. And building an ecosystem and bridging cyber security skills gap and opportunities in the cyber security industry. That's what we are doing.
Okay, that's very important information right there. I hope that they have received your invite and they will show up in September. Now, this is where we end our conversation for today. We will definitely create time. I feel like we've gotten a topic for another day. That is on AI, because I feel like we really need to talk about AI because there's misinformation out there on AI. So we'll create time for that. Thank you so much, John, Mutunga. Thank you so much, Samuel, Kariuki, for joining us for this conversation. And this is where we put a cap to today's Good Morning Kenya. Thank you so much to each and every one of you who has been tuned on the show. My name is Vivian Ndegwa. Until next time, do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Goodbye.